Greetings, Sean here. In this video I'm going to be talking about the Rhino Body Lover compilation. It's a tribute to Shell, North Dakota. I believe there's something like 30 bands on there. I'll be breaking down how I made the cover for it, and there will be a pre-order link down here. Initially, my friend Josh Stever of Asbestos Worker was the one who had this idea to put this together, and he's been organizing all the bands and getting everyone together for this. But he's had help from No List Records and Learning Curve Records, which is amazing. Two really great underground labels. I hope you dig the video. I hope you dig the compilation. I was really happy to be a part of it in the ways that I was. Anyway, here it is. Greetings, Sean here, aka Wurmzilla. Gonna talk about this painting today, which I made as an album cover for something, a special project. To get specific on that, it would be a tribute to the band Shallow, North Dakota, which initially was started to help offset their drummer slash vocalist Tony's medical bills as he battled cancer. Unfortunately, he did not make it, but bills still need to be paid, so here it is. And I'm just going to get into a little bit about like how it came to be what it is. You know, I think we've called it Rhino Body Lover. There's reasons for that. I'll get into that. For anyone who isn't a fan of or know anything about Shallow, North Dakota, they were a band from Hamilton, Ontario, began in the 90s, and I believe they sort of kind of either called it quits or fizzled out in the early aughts, 2004, 2005 maybe. They put out 3 incredible albums, and this is sort of a nod to 2 or 3 different album covers of theirs, kind of combined. I was trying to come up with the idea for this album cover. They had an EP called Rhino Lover, so the rhinoceros theme was there. Immediately I felt like it was a strong image, and their first album was called Auto Body Crusher. So in my head, I was thinking, you know, it just sort of fell into my head, this image of a rhinoceros crushing a car. But I still wanted to get sort of a nod to this apparatus must be earthed in there. So I kind of went with the color scheme from that. And I believe there will be a graphic element superimposed over this in the final artwork. At the time of this recording, the compilation is not out yet, and the layout and the graphic design for the entire project has not been finalized. So yeah, I started on my iPad in Procreate, and I sketched out the idea, and then I kind of refined the idea a little bit more. And then I printed it out real small, and I put it in my light tracer, and I traced that onto the wood panel board here, which I had already primed this yellow color. If you don't know what the light tracer is, it's sort of like an overhead projector but smaller, where you can put an image under it in a dark room, and it will project that image onto your canvas or board or picture plane or whatever, and you can trace it. That way you can get a faithful reproduction of your study or your sketch or whatever that you're starting with, and it just makes your life a lot easier. So that's what I did for that, because I didn't want to fuck around trying to get that sketch, which I was happy with, reproduced adequately on here. So I just traced it right on. You know, it just blew it up on, you know, this size, and I put it on there. I made this painting with acrylic paint. As I said, I was trying to go for this monochromatic type of... actually, technically, I don't think this is monochromatic because it's orange and yellow. Yellow is a component of orange, but like there's, you know, I was going for this apparatus color scheme. So orange and yellow and a hint of green which is in there. It's not really noticeable, but it's in there in one or two little places. I had never worked with the wood panel before, but it was great. It didn't offer, I mean, I don't really mind the give that the canvas offers, you know. It's not really a thing that bothers me, but I thought I would try something a little bit different this time around. I think I just wanted to avoid maybe beginning with some of that canvas texture and have something that was just harder and smoother to some degree, you know. I could have gone a lot farther with the gesso and the priming, but I didn't. I just kind of like put about like 2 layers on there. You can still feel in the brush strokes after that point, you could still feel the wood a little bit, but that didn't really bother me. In fact, it kind of was creating a nice distinction between the actual subject matter that was going to be here and the background, at least in my head. One thing I had a little bit of a hard time with, because I started with the oranges, I basically blocked in all the shapes in a middle value orange, and then I started adding the darks and the lights on top of that, sculpting it. Was yellows, you know, because a lot of yellow pigments are super transparent and they're not opaque at all. And it took about 5 minutes, but I did a little bit of research into what sort of like easily available yellow paints, acrylic paints, are more opaque, and I eventually found one. I'll mark it here, but you know, go figure. I can't remember which pigment it was off the top of my head, but I'll put it here to if anyone's looking for a yellow that's much less see-through, that's available. You know, I believe it was a Liquitex paint that I wound up buying, and it worked great. It was not fully opaque, but much more opaque than the initial yellows that I was using. You know, through the years, I've really come to love the music of Shallow, North Dakota, and the sort of strange visual sensibility that band had from album to album. There wasn't really a sort of common theme, but you know, I really appreciate the sort of disparate elements thrown in and the sort of disregard for any sort of narrative. You know, basically you're left with questions when you're looking at those album covers. You know, I didn't really know what the This Apparatus album cover, like where did that graphic design come from? Tony later told me what it was. I suppose I could let the secret slip here, but I believe it came from a roach poison chalk called Chinese chalk, which was a chalk that you would, if you drew a line on the floor, a roach wouldn't cross it, and it had this very distinct sort of branding, and they adapted it for an album cover. And you know, the Rhino Love cover is excellent. I love how sort of spare it is. It's very sparse, you know. It's sort of like a craft paper, brownish beige cardboard thing, and it has this image of the cartoon dude with the rhino head, and I wanted to do something that was going to be equally stark imagery, or the composition, you know. I wanted it to be striking immediately, like you would see what it is. It's a rhino crushing a car. The idea of sort of trying to do nods to the album covers came from another album cover that I made earlier this year for another Shallow, North Dakota sort of tribute record. Shallow was actually on it. It was a 3-way split between Shallow, North Dakota, Ken Mode, and Kowloon Walled City. I was fortunate enough to be asked to do the cover art for that too, and when I was racking my brain trying to figure out what to do for that one, and it had to be turned in rather quickly, I thought, because the Shallow song on that particular release was an outtake from their Mob Wheel album, I thought, why not represent each song on the album cover, each song from Mob Wheel on the album cover, as a pictogram, like a picture, an image, you know. And some of them were rather straightforward, you know, with my pitchfork, an image of a pitchfork. Some of them required some more creative liberty or interpretation on my part, especially since I wasn't speaking to any of the band members about this, and I didn't really want to. I sort of wanted to filter each song down into an image based on what I thought. So I arranged those pieces all together into the album cover for that particular release. When it came time to do this one, I thought, why not make an actual painting? Because that last one, I made it entirely in Procreate. Time was of the essence, so I needed to just do it quickly. It was all done in black and gray. And this time I had a little bit more time, so I thought, I'll make an actual painting, and maybe I can auction it off to add some more money to the pile to help Tony's family. So that was the sort of reason why this album cover started as a painting. I also love to paint, and I wanted to just have another excuse to talk about painting, to do a painting, to kind of put myself through the process of doing another painting, and try to push myself to render what was happening inside of my head as faithfully as possible, which I believe I did this time out. This is pretty much exactly what I was what I set out to do, and there it is. Anyway, once this compilation has gone live, I'll have a link down below to that, and my intention is to auction this off for the fundraising aspect of this as well. So if there's a pertinent link for that, it'll be down below as well. Two of my bands, The Great Sabatini and Cell Press, have contributed cover versions of Shallow North Dakota songs for this compilation as well. That was pretty fun to work on with everyone as well, and there are a ton of great bands involved in it. It's a really cool project, and I think it just speaks to the influence that Shallow has had over a great many of us, as well as just the love that we all have for those guys, you know. Tony was a wonderful person. I miss him. We all miss him. Everyone's gonna miss him. I hope that the love for the music that those guys made is conveyed in this compilation. I think everyone's gonna do a great job, and it's gonna be awesome. So that's the story of how I made this thing. My goal is really to start making some sort of really low rent Bob Ross style videos of me actually making a painting. Even though I don't consider myself a teacher, I think as I'm learning in making a painting, it might be helpful to others who are trying to learn how to do paintings as well. Also, I feel that there are definitely techniques and things that are helpful that you can learn, but there are also really no rules to any of this shit, and that's the really liberating and fun part about making art, is that it's important to learn the craft aspects of these things and the techniques, and to learn to put more knowledge and information and tools in your arsenal, and you're gonna make better art that way, you know. But at the same time, again, let me just underline, I really don't believe in having the rules and sort of inhibiting yourself with these ideas that a painting has to be this or that or whatever. So yeah, fuck it, man, just do it, you know. I wanted to make this album cover. I was a little bit fearful, thinking like, you know, I might have a little bit less control over the fidelity of the final album cover if I make this a painting. You know, I can endlessly tweak in Procreate or in a digital way the final results, and a painting, at some point you have to just stop and that's it, you know. But that was part of the fun as well. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm gonna say that thing. Please like and subscribe. It helps me out. And it's also encouraging. I want to keep doing these sorts of videos and working on talking to you guys about my creative process as it evolves constantly, and hopefully helping others with their creative process in the process. Anyway, peace. Thank you.